Gospel thinking also teaches us to see ourselves differently. So write this down. Strategy number 2, learn to rest in God's radical acceptance of me. Learn that my true greatness is in Him. Learn to rest in God's radical acceptance of me. Learn that my true greatness is in Him. So look at Jesus dying on the cross and say to yourself, if that's my Lord, how should I look at myself? I look at the cross and when I think about myself, I always marvel at 2 things. I say to myself, if this is the price that must be paid to rescue me from the evil that's inside of me, if that's the price, then how great my sin must be. And it's true. And then I say to myself this, and if Jesus would pay that price, how much must He love me? How much value I must have in His eyes. That's gospel thinking. So if you've ever thought it, I'm the black sheep in God's family, that's not true. God doesn't play favorites with others. He leaves no one on the outside looking in. God doesn't love you any less than anybody else on this earth. And you don't have to earn His attention by working harder than everybody else to try and get Him to look at you. And He won't kick you to the curb the moment you fail and fall short. God is big enough and loving enough and strong enough that He has all the time in the world for you, as though you're the only person in this world. He's that big and that loving. All you have to do is call on Him and seek Him. And this very day, there's a relationship that you can start enjoying with God. This very day, if you ask for it. So stop believing this very moment that your worth is determined by how many likes your posts on TikTok get, or that your worth is determined by your beauty, or how many people you sleep around with, or the people you party with. Your worth, your value is determined by God, and He loves you more than anybody else on this planet. Far more than you can possibly imagine. How do I know? Because He died for you on a cross. That's why. David could write in Psalm 27, David wrote these words. He said, my father and my mother have forsaken me, but God will take me in. Jesus told Peter, after His resurrection, He told Peter how Peter would one day serve Him and suffer for Him and die for Him. And as Peter is digesting what Jesus is telling him, John walks by. He says, what about him? You remember what Jesus says to Peter? Oh, exactly. Don't worry about him. You follow me. You follow me. So follow Him, each one of us, and stop being envious of what God is doing in anybody else's life. Stop trying to live somebody else's life. Live the life that God has called you to live. Let God dream His dream in you. God is going to grant to each one of us in this room and those that He's going to send this year. And He's going to send people. He's going to grow His kingdom through this church. And God is going to write a unique story, a unique adventure with each one. Some will be given long lives. Some, like Nightbird, will be given short lives. They'll be like a shooting star that lights up the sky for just a few seconds and then returns to God. Some will be given easier lives and some harder lives, like our brothers and sisters in Ukraine right now. They're for the grace of God. Go us. We're all given different gifts and advantages and challenges and families and opportunities to work through. So call out to Him and seek Him and follow Him where He leads. He saw Nathanael under the fig tree. Nathanael was doing something. The Bible doesn't tell us. He was doing something to seek God. And Jesus saw him. I saw you under the fig tree. And God sees each one of you. He knows all the private hidden ways in which you cry out to God that nobody else knows about. And He knows it. And if you would hear Him say it, He would say, I saw you. I saw you when you were on the floor by your bed the other day. I saw you when you were at work and you went to the car and you cried out to me. I saw you. By faith believes. That's what gospel thinking is. This is the very definition of faith. This is faith. The Bible says faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. It's not esoteric. It's not out there. Faith is simply saying, I believe this. And something in your mind just toggles as you say, I believe that's true. And that faith, the Bible says, is the victory that will help us overcome the world. That faith to say, Jesus, you died on the cross for me, therefore I understand and receive by faith that you love me. And that'll set you free. It'll help you overcome the world of sin that's around you, including your envy.